This is a diary that I kept from 2020 when we quit our jobs and left Dubai. I want to read you something. I am married to Monya and we have a beautiful, happy and healthy life. We live on a small holding where we grow our own fruits and vegetables, and we plan to convert our land into a wellness center one day. How does that make you feel when you hear that?
It's pretty insane to actually see 5 years ago dreaming about something and now really turning all those dreams into reality. And as long as the 5 years ago it seemed such a far away goal, today we literally almost done.
That's the key part, almost there. Now that you know where the dream started, you might want to know why Sumba, which is pretty remote, far away, and not something that everybody's heard of.
We always dreamed of living on a remote island, far away from tourists, far away from noise, far away from construction noise, far away from traffic and pollution.
What you read in that diary is what I wrote in 2020, so that's 5 years ago. But Monya had a dream of her own this whole time too, which she kept reminding me of, by the way. When we left Dubai, we knew we were going to find a place to live somewhere. We had a little nest egg of money and we knew we were going to spend it on a place to live somewhere in the world. And Monya's dream that entire time was to have a pole dance studio with an ocean view. So that was always in our hearts. You don't even remember that one.
I do remember. I actually do remember it very, very much.
The way that the dynamic of our relationship works, just by the way, is that Monya dreams into the future, these crazy things, and then it's up to me to figure out how.
I'm the dreamer, he is the doer. It's a perfect mix.
I wouldn't say I'm the doer, I would say I'm the strategist. I can come up with a plan, but I don't pick up the hammer. So that was really in the front of our minds, that we knew we were going to move somewhere that was slower, more quiet, more peaceful. And at first we thought it was Bali. And we rented a house, that's where we got our dogs, and we lived 3 amazing years in Bali. But slowly but surely, we were reminded that this is actually not us. So we were kind of just sitting in the sidelines waiting for that better opportunity to find us. And that was in the moment that we found Sumba. And when we went across to Sumba to look for land, and we realized that our budget would allow us to get oceanfront land where nobody can build in front of you and block your view in 10 or 20 or 25 years. That was kind of ticking all of our boxes. And I think Monya's pole dance dreams were flashing in our eyes while we were there. Yeah,
that's very true. It was arriving to Sumba for the very first time. It was like really all the dreams were coming true in the same moment, and it was pretty unbelievable to witness the magic unfolding just on the front of us, because it's all cute to have big dreams and this unrealistic dreams, but on the end of the day, it's so important to make steps to help those dreams come true. And I felt like in this moment, I very humbly, but I had to acknowledge that we kind of never ever gave up. Never ever gave up on this dream.
You know what, on that note, I forgot about this. Like, I forgot I wrote this. I only found this piece of paper, this book, when we were packing up our house in Bali to move here to
You mean I found it, most probably?
You probably found it, and you were like, wait, should we throw this away? And I started scrolling through it, and that's when I saw that thing that I wrote. So to me, that was like, I even get goosebumps right now as I say that, because I forgot that I had planted that seed, you know?
And you realized that you married.
Yeah, I realized, holy shit, I'm married. I'm married, I have land, holy fuck. So here we are. We are now ready to build on Sumba, on our land that we now have. And our budget is $100,000. $100,000 for us is like insanely a lot of money. But in the world of building and construction, it's really not a lot of money. So we're kind of torn between, we feel like we have enough money, but we don't have maybe enough money for everything we want. We have a master plan of what we dream to have one day, but we have $100,000. So right now we don't actually know what we can get for that $100,000 because we haven't yet found a builder. It's proven to be a little bit more difficult than we expected, but we are talking to 3 different builders. We have builders that do jungalo style building, and they kind of build it on their site, their workshop, and then they ship it to the land. We're waiting for quotes from them. The only problem with those guys is that they don't do electric and plumbing and foundations. So it's not our first choice. We also have some builders from Bali that we're chatting to. They're always a lot more expensive. And we have some builders on Sumba that we're chatting to, but they're limited in their skill and their craftsmanship. So right now, the uncertainties that we have are...
We don't have electricity. There's no water on the property. There's no connection either. It's really remote. And all those things as well making the build a little bit more difficult, and picking the right builders who can work in these conditions are as well making things way more difficult and obviously way more expensive. We need to make sure that our water solution and the builder can actually figure this out. The next thing is we need to buy solar power solution, the batteries, and enough of the solar panels itself. So there are a lot of things we need to think about before moving forward. It's not just to find a builder who can build, but who can build on Sumba within the budget and with all those limitations, which are pretty huge for some.
Exactly. So please, while we got you here, like this video, subscribe to the channel so that you can see if we actually pull this off. There's a lot of criteria that we need to meet in order to pick the right builder. The thing that makes this also a little bit more difficult is that Monya and I had very strong values and opinions when it comes to how we wanted to build this project. And so one of the things was we wanted to minimize the amount of concrete that we used. We did not want to be building retaining walls, bulldozing land, removing trees, because it goes against all of our values.
Since we moved to Indonesia almost 4 years ago, we lived between Bali and Lombok, and what we observed is both these islands became very popular, and many people started investing their money and building hotels, resorts, and villas. And unfortunately, there is not so much control over this on these islands, and therefore the peace, the beauty, the culture got lost along all this construction.
We really wanted to build with the land and to use as light a footprint as possible. And so with these limitations, we can't just use local bricks and local cement and all the things which are actually much cheaper, because our values require us to use certain materials that we feel very strongly about.
It's almost like for us moving to the islands and building something very heavy and which feels like we're back in Europe or Dubai. It just doesn't fit and it just doesn't feel good. We moved to the islands to reconnect with ourselves and reconnect with the nature. So this was one of the most important things, is to create and build our house and the whole project like we really care. We care for our own health, we care about the land, we care about the local community, because trust me, people out there live very simple and we don't want to live any differently. We want to live simple, comfortable, but simple. Comfortable yet connected.
So with this decision of ours to build lightly and to only use wood and to try and not disturb the land as much as possible, we had a few choices to make when it comes to materials. Out here in Indonesia, building with wood is actually quite popular, and it's very easy to find a lot of builders who build juggalos on islands like Java, Sumatra, and they just kind of ship them across and put them up on your land, kind of like IKEA of the islands. It's kind of funny. It's called a juggalo. It's really cool. It's a very affordable way to build, actually, and it's very fast. I think one guy told us he could build our house in 7 weeks. So that would be him building it on his property, breaking it down, stacking everything into a truck, driving it across to Sumba, and then putting it up on the land. But the problem with that is that we need to find a solution for foundations and bathroom and electric. So at this point, it's not our first option because we don't really have enough experience in this to feel confident to take care of all those things by ourselves and with local handymen. So we're looking into some other options, and we're really hoping that they can fall within our budget so that we can at least start with the bare minimum, and then gradually, maybe later, we can start to use the juggler solution. One of the biggest things that we had to decide was what type of wood we would use. And this is where a lot of decisions needed to actually be made, because when it comes to deciding which wood you want to use, there are many factors. One factor could be how hard the wood is, which means that with weathering and humidity, softer woods tend to bend and get eaten by termites, which over time, you would need to then start to replace that wood. Being on the cliff where we're probably going to face very high winds and a lot of salty air, we wanted to build with a wood that was very hard, was weather resistant and termite resistant.
And within the budget.
And within the budget.
So that's how we found Bangkarai wood.
Bangkarai wood.
Which is just under the teak wood. Teak wood is the most sophisticated and hardest wood to build from, yet is pretty expensive. And as far as I've learned as well, it's harvested way too much lately. So actually lately you can really get old, well-treated teak wood. You can only get really the brand new teak wood, which is actually not really that good. So for the difference in the price, we absolutely knew that Bangkarai going to be the wood we're going to use for our build, because it really behaves very well in the weather conditions we're going to face on the cliff. Bangkarai tend to remain in a very, very good condition between 30 to up to 50 years. So it's a really good wood. When the cheaper wood like jackfruit wood, coconut wood, you have to replace between 10 to 15 years. So it's worth to pay more for better quality of wood and still be within our budget.
Well, that's the thing. So Bangkarai wood is not found on Sumba. And so we have to actually ship that wood in. And on top of that, Bangkarai wood is extremely hard. You actually need specific tools to cut it and to put it together. So it does require certain types of builders. So it just comes back to the point that we're trying to solve right now, which is to find the right builder who not only can build on Sumba, but is open to building with Bangkarai wood and has access to Bangkarai wood.
Someone told us before that this is going to take time, this whole project, starting from design, working with architects, finding the builders, and actually starting the build. And that time, which was more than 1 year ago, I said, no way. But right now, it's been 1 year since we started working on the architectural plans and actually moving forward with everything and trying to find the builders. And honestly, to find the sweet spot when you have a budget, making sure that you have someone who can build quality, not only quality build itself as a craftsmanship, but as well using the quality materials, it's not that easy. And as well, finding someone you can definitely trust, because Indonesia is very famous from finding builders who are running away with your money. So this really takes time. And the one thing I really learned during this process is patience. I am not a patient person. When I get excited, I want everything right here, right now. But this whole process really humbled me and taught me you have to wait for the good shit.
That's spirit. So that's where we're at right now. We have a very strict criteria of what type of builders we want to find. The three things that we're looking for in our builder is trustworthiness, so that they don't run away with our money. We want to see that they have some existing projects where they built with wood, and so we can see the quality that they build with. And we want to understand if they can communicate clearly with us and deliver on their promise. Because another famous thing out here is that they give you a very affordable quote, and then along the project, they slowly bump it up. So one of the things we were very strict about was we only used builders that were referred to us by friends who had used certain people before. And that's how we created our shortlist. So where we're at right now is that we keep going back and forth with our architect and our builder, because as we create a plan, we send it off to the builder. He sends us a quote. We figure out we need to change a few things because maybe For example, it's the flooring. In our main house, we had the floors as wooden floors. And according to Monya, that was not a good idea because we have 3 dogs and Monya likes to do pole dance.
I grew up in a house where we have natural, beautiful wooden floor. And I've learned one thing, that if you have dogs, this floor gonna be absolutely dead and damaged in like split of 2-3 months. So as much as we would love to have absolutely everything in wood, certain things we just have to get a little bit smarter. So we decided that most probably our floor gonna have or polished concrete or tiles. It all depends. We still actually trying to figure this out. It's not 100% clear, but we had to introduce a couple of changes to our home design. For example, we had to add windows in our pantry and our walk-in closet because after a couple of weeks looking at the design, which is absolutely marvelous, I just realized, oh my God, how I'm gonna ever see anything in my pantry? So we added windows. One of the things we need to change in our house design as well was putting fully covered doors to our wardrobes and to our cupboards, because I'm a person who is obsessed with cleanness, and I just cannot imagine myself walking around and seeing all the things being exposed outside. I like things hidden. Whatever is supposed to be out should be out, but you know, you start adding all those small things, which definitely as well making big changes within the budget, because it's more wood, it's more windows, it's changing the material. It's one of those things when we speak with more and more of our friends who are as well architects in different countries or friends who already built, most of them said, you know, when you have your budget and your builder gives you the quote already, you have to add at least 70 to 80% up. And kinda, this is not a scenario
I hope not.
we want to pursue because firstly, we can't stretch the budget. And secondly, it's already being stretched.
Because of all these fears that we have about the budget being stretched beyond what we can actually afford, we're really going through our plans right now with a fine-tooth comb, trying to find any small changes that we might have missed.
One more change which we introduced to our house, for example, was the roof. And not the roof from the outside, because we very much love alang-alang, this hairy, very natural looking roof. But the inside part of the roof, we decided to put inside wooden pallets instead of having the alang-alang exposed. It's one of those things that this definitely gonna raise our budget up, because it's again more material. But in those moments, you have to as well understand that sometimes the things you overlook on the beginning and you leave it because it's okay, we're gonna figure out, it's gonna very, very quickly turn against you in the future. We used to live in a house where the alang-alang was exposed on the internal part of the house. And unfortunately, we learned that very often it brings a lot of bugs, geckos, and it's a little bit hard to control. But when you have the alang-alang inside of the house covered with wood, it changes everything. It stays very much more clean and neat.
It also holds the AC better. So it insulates a little bit better. So yeah, in our old house, we had when it rained, it would kind of smell a little bit like a stable, which, you know, for a weekend stay, it's fine. But when you're living, it's not something you want to live with. It makes it a little bit more difficult to clean because the geckos walk on the roof and then they poo everywhere in your house. And so, you know, those are things that we have to think about.
We love geckos, and I actually don't mind them pooping and being in the house at all, because actually they're very useful. They eat mosquitoes, they eat all the flies and bugs. So we love them. But the pooping on the bed was not the most pleasant.
Yeah, and then it stains your bedding and, you know.
And one more change, the previous design of our house had a beautiful island. The island with the sink. Behind the island was a whole counter where I could cook. But we very quickly as well realized that the one thing we really miss is to have a big family table. So we very, very quickly changed our mind and we decided to install gas stove and gas oven and the sink on the side of the counter and remove the island completely in order to have a beautiful family table.
This
because
is true.
the one thing we really missed from our previous house in Bali was the big table where we could sit together and work together.
And every time we had guests, we all sat there. It was nice. A lot of these things that we're now deciding to change are creating the backlog and the delay, because every time we change something small, we have to send the new plan to the builder that we're discussing with, and then we have to wait for him to come back. And the problem that we're having in this whole process is that every small change we make, our architects take a few days to a few weeks to change. Then once we get that, it takes a few days to a few weeks for the builder to send us the new quote.
Here, big shout out to our wonderful architects, guys. We love you so much and you are so patient. One of the things which I would like to mention as well, that in these situations, having good architect is really life-changing because they really kept style and the mood of the house as I really, really dreamed of. But they introduced very smart changes. As you can see, in the previous design, the stairs were taking so much space from our living room. But our architects really figure out how to make it so smartly. So they put the stairs and created a walk-in closet, which is like absolutely insane. I would never think about it. And honestly, for all these changes and implementations and smart solutions, to have an architect is really something you should not spend your money.
True. And with that, I'm going to take us into the master plan that they created for us, because that was actually one of the main reasons why we decided to use an architect. Was how do we build in phases and still work towards the end goal without putting units or objects in the wrong places, which then in the long term affect the flow of the property. So our architects created this amazing master plan, and we're at the stage now where we need to decide which items are the most important to begin with, and can we afford those in our first phase, and then what will we do in the next phase and the next phase. So for the first phase, what we have decided is the most important is our house, a fence around the whole property, because we have 3 dogs and we don't want our dogs to be running on the road, because the cars drive a little bit faster on that road because there's really no traffic. And so we don't want our dogs to be in danger. And so we want to put a fence around the whole property. And then we also need to have a driveway or a way to enter the property. And that is one of the big question marks that we have right now, because where the driveway is set in the master plan is best for the overall project, but our house is the furthest away from that point. So we're not sure if we will do that from the beginning, depending on the budget. If we do the driveway at the point that our master plan says, we then also have to do the pathways through the entire property, which might add a little bit too much to the budget. So we really have to go with the flow and see how this all turns out. Right now, the most important thing for us is to have our house, have our fence, so that us and our dogs can live there. But in order for us to live there, we need solar power, we need water, we need the foundations. And then what we hope to do from the next phases, once we have water and electricity sorted and our house sorted, our next phases will be things like little activities, perhaps the yoga deck, maybe the swimming pool. Maybe we will start to focus more on the gardens and the landscaping, so that when we do eventually start to put up rental units, we will have areas for guests to enjoy. And in the beginning, we might just have to all eat at our big dining room table for the start, because we will have a kitchen. And then in the third phase, we will then build the restaurant and probably the remaining rental units. So that's the catch-22 that we're in right now, is that if we want to expand the project and build rental units, there's really a lot of stuff that we have to solve, because there's no restaurant down the road, there's no anything down the road. So we have to have everything a guest needs on the property. Otherwise, it will be a little bit less enjoyable for them.
Absolutely. And one thing we've learned since we moved to Indonesia, we were always inspired by people who moved to Indonesia like 20, 25 years ago. There was still nothing out there, and people used to call them crazy. But all these people we met on our journey, they were truly inspiring us. And the inspiration from them came in the shapes of start organically, move gracefully. Don't try to build too much, too fast from the beginning. Listen to the people, listen to the land. The land and the climate and the surrounding gonna exactly tell you what's next. It's all good to have big plans, but without living in this place first, you are not fully capable to understand. Certain things can be really beautifully designed, but absolutely not aligned with how you feel in a moment when you already live there. So this was a very big takeout from all the people who build beautiful, sustainable businesses in Bali and different places in Indonesia. They really advise us to move there first and start with your house and listen.
And something which is really important about that too is that you need to invest in the local community too. So it's not just about moving across, building your walls, and then separating yourself from the life that already exists there. You really need to also invest into the people. So we want to move across there with the bare minimum and then start to see the relationships that we have around us. Maybe there are builders out there that have the skills to do what we need to do. Maybe we can create systems where they learn through our expansion. And so our goal is to really try and live with the local community. Actually, we've already been approached to donate some money to the local church. And so we've sent a little donation to that. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot more of that sort of give and take on our relationship, which we're completely happy to get involved in. Because the one thing that we feel very, very strongly about is that our arrival to this small area needs to be a net positive for everybody there. So if we expand and if the area expands, we want it to also expand the local community. So if we can, we would like to get local builders from our community to join the project and to learn from the other builders that we bring across, so that at some point in the future, the local builders have all the skills required to put up more units. Let's just say other people start to build in the future. We want the local community to be able to fill that demand gap. And so we're taking that pretty seriously. And so that all requires us to get across there first and to start planting roots, not just physically on the land, but also in the community.
So there is something very interesting that you definitely don't know about building out in Indonesia on a remote island. When you're trying to build your house or business on Sumba Island or any other Indonesian island, you should first get permission from Kepala Desa, which means from the chief of the village. And a lot of people actually don't do it. They actually even don't know about it. But because, as you heard, we really want to live with these people and respect them and actually live within their culture and their seasons and their understanding of how things supposed to be done, this was very first thing we did. So on our last trip, we went to Sumba with some gifts like whiskey, cigarettes, and betel nut. Yes, I know it doesn't sound healthy, but trust me, this is all they wanted. So we met our chief of the village, our Kepala Desa, and I tried really hard to explain how much we respect the village and how much it would make our hearts so happy if we get the permission to become part of the village and to get the permission to start building our first unit. It was very stressful.
And he gave us the thumbs up, by the way.
Everything we are doing right now is absolutely new for us. We are not people who are manually skilled. We've never built a house. We don't know anything, but we are always super eager to learn.
The reason why we're sharing this video today with our budget before even having answers back from the builder is because this is what 90% of this whole journey is. It's unknown. And what we find online is whenever you watch this type of content, it's all very final. People already have answers, they're already doing their thing, and they don't often share the beginning messy part where you don't really know what the hell is going on for 99% of the time. So this is it. We're bouncing back and forth. We really wanted you to get an inside look as to how chaotic it kind of can look at sometimes, you know, where so many changes are necessary. You really just kind of go one step at a time, and you just hope that those little baby steps lead you somewhere good in the end. That's really how this feels.
I feel like as long as the intention is good and we aligned with our sole purpose for this place, this island and the land, everything gonna fall into places. But the journey is the journey, and the journey is definitely challenging, changing, and beautiful at the same time.
So there you have it, guys. We know what our budget is. We know what we want as a bare minimum. What we really hope in the next video is that we can share exactly what it's all going to cost, and we can set an exact date as to when we will start. Our number one objective right now is to be living there full time next year. This video is made now in November of 2025. So if we can be there by June 2026, that would be the ideal goal. And we're pushing as hard as we can right now to get there before or in June of 2026. So that's where we're heading. That's how much money we got. And now it's really just about, can we pull this off?
I was born in the river one day, watch me clean and cold. Oh Lord, I won't come home till the river runs dry, my friend.